Yes, my people, I'm here again to bring you DPA law firm in the US. He's here in the US with me, and today he talked about the child support, and he explained it perfectly well for us to understand. And I'm going to talk about this man because this man has taught us a lot since this Queen May issue has started. And I'm so grateful to Queen May and her family for choosing this man and for making him known to a lot of us that didn't know him. So I'm going to let him talk so he can teach us and explain to us how the child support system, how it also works in Nigeria. And because they have child support in the US here and in other countries. So he's going to tell us and explain to us how it works. So my people, I'm going to let him just speak now. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. My name is Patience, and please subscribe to my channel, Patience Vlogs. It's my name, it's my channel. I have been here since 2013. I have 4 other channels that I've been operating. It's just that this one just came to visibility. And thank you, my people, for subscribing to my YouTube channel. God bless you all.
Many people do not understand, as I have told you on many occasions, that the term divorce.
All right, my people, Mona, hold on. It's going to start very soon. I want him to start from the beginning because it's very important. I don't want you to miss anything.
DPA members, welcome to yet another discussion on an important subject matter concerning the law, family law in particular. Today we are going to look into a simple issue, which is how courts decide child support cases. You hear this all the time. 2 parents are separating or they're divorcing, but they have children. And it becomes a very important question how the parents will continue to support the children even after they're separated. Many people do not understand, as I have told you on many occasions, that the term divorce is a process and it's a package. Divorce proceedings are a process, they involve a process, and they come as a package of many things. The purpose of divorce is not just to end the marriage so that the husband and wife can now become single and be able to remarry. That's not just the purpose of divorce, even though it is the number one purpose. Divorce involves other things which are even far more important than the issue of the man and the wife going their separate ways. One such thing divorce proceedings involve is the question of custody. Which parent will the child stay with? Of the 2 parents, mother and father, which of them should have the child? And if one of them has the child, what is going to be the responsibility of the other parent who doesn't have the child? How would he continue to support the child, support the other parent in raising the child, and how will he have access to the child? So when people come to me and say, all I want is child support, all I want is child support and custody, I get confused because they're missing the point. They don't know that custody and child support come as a package with the divorce. That what you go for is the divorce. And when you go for divorce, the court must address the issue of support, custody and support. That is why, under Nigerian law, the Matrimonial Causes Act, in preparing your divorce petition, you are required to indicate whether the marriage was blessed with a child, if you have a child of that marriage. And if so, you are required to propose an arrangement for the child. So you don't go for divorce without addressing the children. The judge, the court itself will ask. And if the court finds out that you did not make any arrangement for the children, the court will not address the issue of divorce. They will not entertain your petition. So if you are good, when you hear us recommend divorce, many of you completely misunderstand what divorce is about. You think that the divorce is for the husband and wife to separate and remarry and go their separate ways. It involves more. It involves more. A number of things can lead us into suggesting divorce. If there is continuous abandonment of the children by one parent, for instance, you have a man, he's not bringing money for feeding, he's not paying rent, even though you're still married to him, you're living with him, but he's not supporting the children. He's not doing anything. The children are suffering. We may ask you to go for divorce. Why? Maybe you have a boyfriend, so you don't care about the fact that he's not sleeping with you anymore. Or maybe you are sleeping with him despite his horrible abandonment of the children. So you don't want to divorce you, but you want to deal with the children. It's not possible. It is better to go for divorce, knowing fully well that when you go for divorce, the court will automatically address the issue of custody of children and child support. How do you decide? Child support. How do you determine? And when it comes to child support, one thing I want you to understand up front is this. Or rather, there are two things you need to understand. First, the court has to decide on custody before the court will decide on support. The court must first determine which of the two parents will have custody of the child. Because it is the other parent who did not get custody that will be required to pay child support. So before we deal with child support, we need to understand who pays child support to whom. So the parent that gets the child is called the custodial parent. The parent that did not get the child is called the non-custodial parent. So it is the non-custodial parent that pays child support to the custodial parent. So if you haven't determined who has custody, you cannot address who has support. Because a lot of the time, some women come, by arrangement, the man lives her with the children and goes his way. He's not sending money. And the woman comes and says, I want support, I want support. We say, yes. But you really don't have custody. The custody you have was not ordered by court. The custody you have is just because he abandoned you and the children. That's not the real custody. So you have to get custody order. Once you get custody order, support is automatic. The court will address it. So bear these things in mind. The parent, the custodial parent, is the parent that keeps the children or the child. That's also the parent that receives support. Child support is not a payment to the child, it's a payment by the non-custodial parent to the custodial parent. A lot of the time, people misunderstand it. When they say pay child support, it doesn't mean you should send the money to the children, even if they're teenagers. Even if the child is 16 years old and has an account of his own, child support is not paid to the child. It is a payment by a non-custodial parent to the custodial parent for the purpose of raising the child. And a lot of the time we hear people say, okay, I'm not going to pay money, I'll buy rice, I'll buy provisions. Because the men think that if they pay child support to their ex-wife or their estranged wife, she will use it to buy cosmetics. So she doesn't want to give her cash. She wants to buy rice or buy beans. No. Why is that? Because the custodial parent is the one to make decisions about what the children will eat. Whether they will eat rice or beans. There's a reason she's the custodial parent. The non-custodial parent cannot come and determine what to do with the money he sent, provided the money is being used for the well-being of the children. Whether the woman buys noodles or buys yam or buys beans or buys milk, that is the decision the custodial parent must make. Your work is to send money, the agreed amount or the court-ordered amount. So, now, it is the non-custodial parent that pays support. There is something else the court decides: visitation, what we call access to the children. Now, who gets access to, who has to face the issue of access? It is the non-custodial parent. Access is the opposite of custody. When the custodial, one parent gets custody, the other parent gets access. So, there are many things to discuss, but I want to keep these things focused. And back to the issue. How do we determine? When the court has decided, by the way, one thing else I want to tell you is, in deciding which parent gets custody, the court has to apply what we call the best interest of the child analysis. The court will analyze what is in the best interest of this child, to stay with mama or to stay with papa. Many of you think, and this is very wrong, that because mama doesn't have money, mama has no house, mama is not employed, therefore she can't have custody. They will even ask her, if they give you the children, do you have the money to feed the children? Wrong, 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 wrong. That is not one of the things the court will consider. In deciding custody, the court is not going to consider who is richer or who is poor. Why is that? The reason the court doesn't consider that is because the law made it possible for court to transfer wealth from the richer parent to the poorer parent. When it comes to raising the children, you should see the two parents as two drums connected at the base by a pipe. If two drums are connected at the base by a pipe, it means that it doesn't matter where you pour money from, water into. Which drum you pour water into, the water level in the two drums should be the same. Whether you pour water in drum A or drum B, the water level will be the same because they are connected at the base. So the law makes it possible. Indeed, the law mandates the court to transfer wealth from the richer parent to the poorer parent. So in deciding the issue of custody, the court is not going to look at whether the woman has money or not. The only way it may come up is this. Let me give you an example. If the mother is a full-time student, the court can say, because she is not available, because she's a student, she shouldn't keep custody. That is done on the best interest analysis of the children. It's not done on the fact that she has no money. So please hear this and learn it. This idea that, the woman doesn't have money, so she can't keep the children, that's totally wrong. The court, if I were the judge, I will order the richer parent to pay rent, to provide medicals, school fees, feeding, and general maintenance to the other woman, to the other parent. So it doesn't matter if you're a billionaire or a millionaire, whatever you are, and she's very poor, unemployed, it's not a factor in deciding who has custody. The court focuses the best interest of the children. And in analyzing the best interest of the children, the court will look at so many things. The ages of the children are important because the younger they are, the more dependent they are on their mother. Let me give you an extreme example. A breastfeeding baby depends on the mother. So the older the child goes, the less dependent on the mother she is presumed to be. However, there is no age limit, because I have heard, even if you go to Nigerian police, they will tell you, oh no, you keep the child. When he's 12, you hand him over to the father. Nonsense. That's not the law. That's not the law. There is no automatic age at which the child must be handed over to the father. The court will look at each case on its own individual merits. But one thing you can know as a matter of common sense is that the older the child is, the less dependent he is on the mother or even on any particular parent. Can you imagine a child that is 14 years old? The courts are very slow to force the children at age 14. The court will invite the child and talk to the child. Where do you want to be? Who do you want to stay with? Which of the parent do you want to stay with? Why is the court asking the child? Because the court knows that the child will not obey the court order if the child doesn't like it. If you tell the child, hey, stay with your dad, but he wants to stay with his mom, he will go to his mom. He will just go to his mom. So the courts, you see, courts don't like to make orders that cannot be implemented. Orders it cannot enforce. You can't force a 15, 16-year-old child on where to stay. So, but the point is, the court takes into consideration so many things, the needs of the children. For instance, here in the United States, if we're handling the case here, we will look at the issue of, we will look for witnesses. We contact the school of the children, the teacher of the children. Which of the parents calls you often? Some teachers will say, I have never spoken with the father, but the mother calls twice every week. The mother even comes here. She does the school run. So it means that for the child's education, the mother is more relevant. Good. We contact the pediatrician, the doctor of the child. When this child was sick, do you know this child? Yes. Who brought him for treatment? Say the mother brought him for treatment. The mother has been following up. The mother has been doing this and doing that. Beautiful. We look for the sports coach. We produce witnesses are people to demonstrate that it is the best interest of the child to stay with the mom because the mom is more active parent in the child's life. Then we also look at whether the parent's behavior. If the parent smokes, if the father smokes or the mother smokes, that's a problem. The court will be interested in keeping the children away from a smoke-infested environment. The court will also determine who is remaining in the family house at the address where the children used to be before. That person is more likely to get custody because the court does not want to disrupt the children's environment. If you will relocate the children, they have to change schools, they'll have to change friends. And children, they don't have phones to call their friends and remain in touch with friends. It's a major disruption for the children. So the court wants minimum disruption for the children. So whoever gets custody is probably going to get the house where the children are. These are decisions the court. So overall, when the court has considered the best interest of the children, as I said to you, is a very long list. The court will consider every issue that the lawyers raise that are important, their friends, their environment, their activities in the local church, and those things. Who takes the children to church? Who takes them to their games? Who cooks for them? Who dresses them? Who buys their clothes? And those things. And then you look at the work. When does daddy close work? Daddy closes work late and goes on business trips. Many times, mommy doesn't go on business trip and she closes work early. Mommy always comes home by 5 p.m. But dad comes home 7, 8, and sometimes he's on vacation or trip. So in other words, if we leave these children with the father will have to depend very largely on nannies and house help. And those house help are strangers to these children. However, if we leave these children with their mom, life will pretty much continue as it has always been, except that daddy is no longer as often at home as he used to be. So they will give the woman custody. Now, we have decided on the custody issue. The woman's got custody. By the way, let me also tell you something. The man may get custody if the facts change. We have had situations where it was the father that was doing school run because the father was a businessman. He was flexible in his schedule. The woman was a government corporate worker. She was more rigid. She must go to work every day and come back in the evening. But the father could, if the child is sick, he will stay off. He's a businessman. He's doing his own business, self-employed. He will take the children for school run. He will go get them. He will take them to their doctor. When we have that sort of fact, the father will get custody. You have to understand this. Okay, now that we have decided who has custody, let us go to the issue of child support. How will the court determine how much the non-custodial parent will pay the custodial parent? It will depend on the following factors. 1, how many children? What are the needs of these children? What are the standard of life they are used to. These are important. Standard of life they are used to. Then the court will consider the incomes of the two parents. How much does mom make? How much does father make? In America, it is very simple. When you file your divorce petition, you attach what we call your financial statement. That is very critical. Financial statement. Each side. Mom will indicate her own income. Dad will indicate her own income. Good. They will add them. They will add the income of the parents and come to a figure. Then they come to the needs of the children. They come to a figure. So they say, okay, father and mother make $10,000 per month. Children need $3,000 per month. Okay. But father, of that 10,000, father makes 8,000 and mother makes 2,000. Okay. They will do the fraction, the arithmetic, and apportion responsibility. Share that 3,000 between husband and wife in accordance with their income-making capabilities. So, the father will be paying, because he's making 8,000, she's making 2,000, and the children need 3,000, the father will be paying almost the 3,000. He'll be asked to pay maybe 2,800 or 2,500. So he's paying only 2,500 when the children need 3,000. It is because the courts assume that the mother will be paying 500. That's why. It's very simple. And when here in America, when the other child support, they make it deductible from your employer automatically. Automatically. Your wife doesn't have to call for the child support. Your salary, your employer will now take your salary, he will pay her child support and give you the rest. That's how it works here. Now, I know somebody will ask me, but what if the man doesn't have a job? The man doesn't have a salary. Nobody knows his income. Okay, it happens here in America too sometimes. Or what if the man deliberately remains unemployed so he will not pay child support? We call it voluntary impoverishment. You impoverish yourself so you don't have to pay child support. The law is smart. These things have been done. So there are three ways the court will determine your income. The court could look at your salary. If you have salary, steady job. If not, the court can look at your assets, the type of job you do. If you're a musician, like Davido does not have salary. So there is a way the court will look at it. So the court will look at his lifestyle. His work, really, his position in society, and impute income to him. The court will attribute income to him. We call it imputation of income. A person of this level must be capable of this wealth. And also, you consider, as I said earlier, the needs of the children, special circumstances of the children. If the children is a child of a popular musician, artist like Davido, she will need protection, she will need security, she will need a whole lot of things because she could be a target of kidnappers. So, now, they will look at the father's lifestyle, look at what he's doing. They can generally attribute, if you're an artist, grossing so we attribute income to you. We don't have to look too far. But assuming we don't have that, he's not an artist, we can't place him. He is just invisible. We don't know economically what he's doing. We do what we call lifestyle audit. We focus on how he lives, the car he drives. You are driving a Rolls Royce, $500,000 car, but you want us to believe you don't have money? No. We use your lifestyle. We call it lifestyle audit. We will audit your lifestyle, and the court will come to a conclusion. So, now I posed two exemplary questions that I asked. In the case of Sophia Mamadou and David Adeleke, Davido. They're fighting over custody. Davido wants custody of their child. And his reason for that was because Sophia was asking for too much money for child support. And Davido explained what he was doing. He's giving her some money, less than $10,000 per month, and stuff. How would the court in Europe look at Davido's case? It's not far-fetched. You are smart people. Let us find out how much does Kanye West pay Kim Kardashian in child support. You see, we are not completely without a solution. We're not, you guys know what to do. So, look at how much does Kanye West pay Kanye West pay in child support? Okay. The answer is there. Kanye West pays $200,000 a month to Kim Kardashian in child support. They've got 4 children, of course. And Sophia Mamadou's got 1 child. Okay. Another factor you got to consider is that Kim Kardashian is a billionaire herself. If Kim Kardashian was unemployed, probably Kanye West would be paying $400,000 a month in child support. And $400,000 a month in child support for 4 children will come to $100,000 a month for 1 child. All right, Kanye West is richer than Davido. Let's say so. If he's richer by double than Davido, then we reduce this to $50,000 a month. So Sophia in Europe, applying similar principles as I mentioned now, should easily qualify for $50,000 child support per month. And it is so easy to show that. All Sophia needs to do is to show the court that Davido is an extremely rich man from a wealthy family, so he doesn't have responsibilities. And guess what? She will point at his lifestyle. Many women, many children, uncontrollable habits, reckless lifestyle. So, he got to pay this. 2 or 3, she can point at the wedding he had yesterday. Davido and Chioma's wedding was extremely expensive, very flamboyant, extraordinary. His gift to Chioma was a car. So now, and guess what? He says it is for school run. All right. And that is in addition to other cars at the disposal of Chioma. Davido could still give her a car for the children, for the twins, carrying the twins. So Sophia, the judge in Sophia's case will look at, all right, the man has established a pattern and has proven his capacity of what he can do for a child. He bought a brand new car, expensive car, for a wife, for twins that are not yet of school age. Therefore, he ought to do more for Sophia. Remember, ordinarily you will say, oh, Chioma is his wife, Sophia is not his wife. That's not what the court is looking at now. The court is looking at the child. The question is the child Davido's child? If the answer is yes, boom. So, for those of you who don't know these things, looking at it, when you heard that Davido is paying about $10,000, less than $10,000 monthly, and he bought car for Sophie. Many people were saying, "Oh, he's doing too much. He's doing too much." No, you don't understand the principles the court follow, and you don't understand what is happening there. Now, let's go to Nigeria. In Nigeria, it will be different. The Nigerian courts do not have access to the financial information of the parties, because Nigerian divorce petitions do not require you to attach your financial statement. And even if the court asks for financial information of the parties, they will lie about it. Nigerian businessmen, even government officials, nothing is as difficult as tracking their income, because the official salaries could say 100,000 naira, but the man is making 100 million. Look at Nigerian senators. Look at Nigerian House of Representative members. If you were to take any of them to court for child support now and they ask him about his income, he'll bring his meager salary of 200,000 naira a month. So Nigerian courts, faced with this issue, Nigerian courts perform magic. Nigerian courts perform pure magic. They have no information about the man's income. They just assume it. And they always assume that the woman has nothing to contribute. Nigerian courts hardly ever consider the woman's money in determining child support. So that is the obstacle, the challenge we have. That is the challenge we have in Nigeria. So what Nigerian courts do is they say anything they like. They give anything they like. And also, after they've given it, they don't have easy way of enforcing it. Those men may refuse to pay. They don't have automatic enforcement mechanism. They don't have an agency of Nigerian government that enforces child support. In the United States, there is a government agency that makes sure you pay the child support. If you don't pay the child support, so many things could happen to you. One, they will not renew your driver's license when it expires. They will not renew your your passport when it expires. You will not get so many things. And guess what? You could be arrested. Non-payment of child support is contempt of court. You could be arrested and placed in prison until you purge yourself of the contempt. It's not so in Nigeria. It's a different experience. We do different things. Okay? DPA is considering a number of non-conventional methods to put a man under pressure, a parent under pressure. If you fail to pay child support, one of the things we are considering is to have a register of deadbeat fathers, people who are not paying child support. Once there is clear there's a child support order, and once the custodial parent comes to us that you're not paying child support, we'll write you a letter giving you 30 days to either explain that you paid or start paying. If not, we're going to put your name there. It's going to be an online register of deadbeat fathers.
That would be nice.
So that people all over the world will check on you and know. So when you go out there toasting a new woman, promising her heaven and earth, and offering her everything, she should be able on her phone to check if you are owing on child support. As if she finds that you're not taking care of the children you already gave birth to, she should think twice before she opens her legs for you. That is one of the things DPA is going to do for Nigerians to help the system work, because in Nigeria we get judgment and the men don't obey the judgment. They try to do all kind of nonsense. But if we put them on international register of deadbeat dads, fathers who are not paying child support, if you put them on that register, many of them will sit up. Okay? Because there's no point. You haven't taken care of the children you born. You gave birth to with this woman, and you're trying to get another woman pregnant. What will happen to those children? So, and women should know that if a man does not care for his children, he will not care for you or for your children. So, that is it. So, that's it. Now, final topic before I close on this is I asked, many people are talking about the marriage of David and Chioma. And many people are lamenting for Chioma and wondering why she will go ahead and marry such a man A man with such a record of infidelity, such a record of promiscuity, such a record of having children everywhere, he will probably continue that way. So they thought that Chioma should pull out or should have said no, or that Chioma is going to suffer. Very good assumption. Very good assumption. But remember what I have always told you. People live their lives in different ways. One man's meat is another man's poison. The critical thing you will always look for is whether a person was properly informed. Whether a person had the information, had the opportunity to analyze the information, has the opportunity to decide, has the freedom to decide, and then decided. Once that person decided in one way or the other, it's not for you to judge her. This has been my approach to issues of polyamory or polygamy. If the parties involved in polygamy, all of them, all the women and the man, understood what they're doing and agreed and considered each person's best options, and they say yes, let them be. The woman who consciously accepted polygamy is not doing a bad thing. You just don't know what's on her mind. Maybe she's tired of being faithful. She's tired of being faithful to one man. And her husband's decision to go into polygamy provides her a moral opportunity to give chance to other men. Oh, come on. We know that women in polygamy feel less obligated, less bound. Many of them are faithful, but they are more of faithful as of their faithfulness is more of choice than a sense of obligation. You have multiple women, so what would go wrong if she could just sleep with a man? It's amazing. In our study of people in prison, we found out that inmates who had multiple wives in polygamy are more likely to suffer the abandonment of those wives. So when you sentence a man to 3, 4, 5 years, 6 years in prison, and is married, we found out that women in monogamous marriage are more likely to wait for him to come out of prison than women in polygamous marriages. And in those polygamous marriages, we found out that the first to leave, to abandon the man, is the last wife. You see, we don't just talk, we study. BPA has been studying the prisons and life of prisoners for the past 4 years.
Is the first wife.
The statistics are extraordinary. What we discovered, what we found out. And so if a woman wants to go into polygamy, do you know what her choices are? The only time we worry is don't force her and don't trick her. Make sure she was involved in the decision, discuss it with her. Indeed, there are cases where, let's say a woman doesn't have a child, and the man comes. Indeed, the woman doesn't even wait for the man to come. The woman understands that if she doesn't have a child and this keeps going on forever and ever, this man may remarry, may divorce her and marry another woman. She doesn't want that to happen. The man has right to divorce her, yes. But of course he will pay. But he has the right to divorce her. So, such woman may call her husband and say, hey, honey, listen. I know you don't want to do it, but I want to suggest it. You say, what is it? Let's get you another wife, a second wife, who will bear a child for you. I don't want you to be childless because of my condition. The woman may do that. And the husband looks at her and says, is this what you want? She says, yes. It's okay. Then I want you to find the second wife. Suggest to me a good lady you can get along well with. And she goes, finds another lady, and she discusses it with the lady. My husband needs someone that can have a child for him. I think you're a good woman. Would you like to oblige? And we'll be in a polygamous marriage? The woman says yes. If she says yes, good. So the man will see the two women and say, hey, nice to meet you. I'm glad you and my wife got along well. She made the decision and all these things. But all of you will have equal rights if you come in as a wife. But because of the circumstances or the reason for which this marriage is taking place, I need to make sure you're pregnant before the marriage takes place. People make all kind of arrangements. I'm not suggesting any of them for you. It's up to you. You will decide depending on your circumstances. In the case of Chioma, Chioma is dealing with a celebrity, extraordinarily rich, offers a wild life of fun and excitement and trips all over the world. By way of his business, this man is probably going to sleep with women. There are things people do and shape their sexuality along with their work and lifestyle. For instance, people are discovering now that Michael Jackson was actually a womanizer. But his producers told him that he had many female fans who are driven by his being single, who are impassioned by his personality as a single man. That was wrong advice, though. But he made the decision. He concealed the fact that he was a womanizer. Many people didn't know he was having sex with women. Instead, he pretends to almost be feminine. Or he pretended. He's no longer here. So, in Chioma's case, Chioma's parents were educated. They are not poor as such. They have known Davido since he was 13. So, they looked at it, they advised their daughter. Their daughter did not go into a desperate thing. So, this is Chioma's choice. Chioma preferred to be with him despite his frailties, despite his promiscuity. It's not for me, it's not for you to question that choice that Chioma made. She's made it. Now, they're not breaking any law. Remember, in the case we were worried about, it was because law was also broken. They did not break any law. He married her. Somehow, he says to everybody, she's number one. So when he goes on his concert, on his tours, and runs into a woman, and does something, or runs into Sophia, and they settle and do something, yes, terrible things, but it's not for you and me to judge. As long as Chioma is a free agent, acting freely, consciously, and well-informed. Okay, I'm going to end this now, but I have explained to you a number of things which I hope you will understand, and I'll rehash them, okay? In determining determining child support, the court first has to determine custody, who gets custody, and who pays support. That determines who pays support. And in determining who gets custody, the court will apply the standard called the best interest of the child analysis. The court will not consider unduly who is rich or who is poor. That's not for custody. That will be considered when they get to child support. Remember, custody will be decided, boom, separately before they get to child support. Because if you decide them together, there will be a tendency to say, let's give the child to the richer parent. No. They will decide custody first without looking at the wealth. Just as some schools, let's say Harvard University, in making their decision admission, they don't consider finance. It's after you have been admitted that they look at finance. Because they just don't want to end up admitting only rich children at the expense of intelligent children. So, in cases of divorce, the court will first determine where the children will be based on the best interest analysis, After deciding it, in this making that decision, they don't consider finance. Then they'll turn around and determine how much should be paid in child support. That is when they consider the wealth of the family, the respective wealth capacities of the parents. Okay? And I've explained to you how the court makes that decision. In civilized countries, well-functioning countries, the court worked on information, your financial statements, your accounts, income as verifiable, which is easily verifiable. You can look at your tax return last year to see how much you made. Oh, yes. You can't lie much about your finances in the United States. So they have something to work on. In Nigeria, they don't have this sort of information. Therefore, the court performs what is akin to magic. The court guesses it. And then we have the problem of enforcement. Thank you. Next time, we're going to take on another topic, and that could be the issue of marital property distribution. How are marital properties distributed between the two parties? And what is marital property? How do we determine what is marital property? And remember that when we go to marital property, because a lot of the time we hear people say, oh, she wants my money. Why does she want to get his property? It is not true. That's not what is happening. No court will give you somebody's property. What the court is doing is to give her share of the property, her own.
Did you guys hear that?
You see, the court first has to determine that you own the property jointly somehow. Before they now say, what is your share of the property? So giving somebody her share is not charity.
Yep.
You're not doing her any favor. In fact, you shouldn't keep her share. Thank you. And talk to you again soon.
Wow. My people, this is very educating. I'll be bringing more of. I will not just be listening to it by myself, because that's what I used to do. I'll go to his page and just listen to it by myself. But now I don't want to learn alone. I'm going to be bringing it most of his teachings. Oh my God, I wish they could just make this man a judge or a magistrate in Nigeria, because we have so many intelligent lawyers in Nigeria. They should also come out and be teaching Nigerians what their rights are. Their rights, what they need to know. It's not just about family, about every other things. You see what he just explained now also, it saves the man and the woman, and helps to provide for the children. And people, please share this video. I also made a video on advanced living will, advanced directives and living will. It is very important that as Nigerians, that we should try to make that very important. Please share this video. Share. Go to my page and go watch that video. Please share and thank you.